Responsibility on financial discipline and management has been in practice. Statement from the President.
Kumari Gunaratna sentenced to a 1-year prison term.
State Minister of Defence comments on national security.
Prime Minister comments on the so-called elite caste.
Strike action by the university non-academic staff disrupts academic activities.
Hello there and a very good evening. This is Prime Time News. We're coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Sonali Vanigabadage.
Hello there, very good evening to all our viewers. I'm Joel Outspoon. Let's start off with some local news.
President Maithripala Sirisena declared open a new building complex at the Ministry of Finance today.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake and State Finance Minister Lakshmana Abeyewardena were present for the event. The President declared open the building following religious observances.
I have taken steps to cut down the expenditure of the Presidential Secretariat by 60%. If the previous expenditure was 100%, now it is 40%. Back then the staff at the Secretariat was 1,600, that was cut down to 700. During the first 2 months of the term, I handed over 200 vehicles to the state institutions. You are aware that during the past year, I never used charter flights for foreign tours. Sri Lankan Airlines incurred a huge loss from charter flights that were kept for 3 or 4 days and the seats were filled with 200 to 300 relatives and associates. I have ended an era where the public funds were wasted. Only I use helicopters to travel and no one in my family does so. It is paramount that we work with an understanding more than other state institutions and work towards financial management.
On Tuesday night, the police were notified of 2 bombs and they took custody of that. Weapons are recovered at times. It is not a surprise that hidden weapons are recovered even if there was a larger war than before. Weapons that date back to the Second World War are still being discovered. Our former friend GLP Riz is acting Napoleon. The person who never lit a firecracker is acting Napoleon. He does not even know where the bomb is. If he knew that the bomb was to be brought to Vellavatha, he must inform the police as to which house it was sent to. We will not allow terrorism to rise again. There are attempts to sabotage the economic development at this time. 31,000 rupees was allocated for a square foot of this building that was declared open today. It would not only cost 12,000 rupees for a 5-star hotel. So after incurring such a large cost, the previous government is questioning us. They're questioning us after spending 100,000 rupees of a task that can be completed by spending 100 rupees after putting this burden on the people and making them pay taxes. They're asking us to do miracles. That is not impossible, but it cannot be done overnight. Give us a few months to make that change.
And on to our developing story this evening. Investigations into the discovery of a suicide vest and other explosives from a house in Marwan Pilavu under the jurisdiction of the Chava Kachari Police has been handed over to the Police Terrorist Investigation Division.
Police media spokesperson SP Gunasekara said that acting IGP SM Wickremesinghe has handed over the investigation into the discovery to the Terrorism Investigation Division. The police media spokesperson said that 2 magnetic explosive devices were also among the explosives found yesterday. Further investigations into the findings will be carried out under the supervision of the Deputy Inspector General of Police of the Criminal Investigations Department. A suicide vest and a cache of explosives were found in a house in the Marwan Pilavu area in Chavakacheri, Jaffna during a raid which was carried out early last morning based on a tip-off. A 30-year-old suspect in connection to the discovery was arrested in Akkaraikulam area while fleeing the area last evening.
Now, the discovery of the explosives were discussed at several media briefings today.
Even before an investigation report on whether these explosives are old, new or anything for that matter has been submitted, Professor G.L. Piris has made a statement saying that these explosives were to be brought to Vallavatta. Well, we have the Defence Secretary amid our presence. As an ordinary citizen myself, I propose that an investigation be held on Professor G.L. Piris on this information. He must be questioned on this because he speaks with information in hand. The current Defence Secretary has said that the Claymore bombs and suicide jacket which were found does not pose a threat to national security. We would like to ask him, if this isn't a matter concerning national security, to whose security does it concern? Have they brought Claymore bombs to light up like firecrackers for the new year? And for what reason have they wrapped up suicide vests in cloth ready to be brought to Colombo? We are making such discoveries solely because the status of national security is good. Our officers in the intelligence units, police and CID are monitoring these incidents and are carefully handling these matters not only in the north, but in the south and Colombo and everywhere else. Now there is a need to question G.L. Piris. We may have to question such persons because if they have information, it would be quite important once it is confirmed. Several such discoveries were made. So how could it be called a breach to national security? They started making such discoveries in 2014 when we were in the Mahinda Rajapaksa government. Did they find such things when Gotabaya Rajapaksa was Defence Secretary? Finding such equipment is a good thing. It becomes a problem if you don't. So all these things which were buried in different areas are now being found with the help of the people. This is no ordinary incident. The Defence Secretary is now trying to show that these are old equipment and that even though they were found from some place, it is not a threat to national security. Now these explosives were found parcelled in a house. One parcel even had Vallavatta written on it. Were they kept to light as firecrackers for the new year? We ask that you not play around with national security because if you do, it is the children of this country who will have to pay for it. G.L. Piris has said that there was an attempt to bring these explosives to Colombo. We have asked the CID to question him on this statement because even we, who are in the Defence Ministry, have not received such information. This group called the Joint Opposition is trying to create a sense of fear once again among the people and the country. They are carrying such topics to accomplish their ulterior political motives. As a government, we will not allow the national security of the country to be compromised. In 2009, we defeated terrorism and won complete peace for the country. But never should we forget that there is a small group of people who are constantly working in secret to chase away the investors coming here by committing 1 or 2 murders to destroy the peace and political system in the country. So we should not allow the freedom we won to fall into the hands of suicide bombers. This country must be made alert again. We must defeat the attempts to weaken our security units and attempts to destroy the leaders who can strengthen these units. During the short period that I have been here, I have noticed that nearly 70% of the people in the north are innocent, helpless and reasonable. They are really good people. Today activities in the battlefield are over. But we have another and a more serious war now. That is the war between ideas and the media war. We cannot destroy these ideas by bombing or shooting and killing them. We are a country which was battered by war for around 30 years. So I think that we should be extremely happy that even after the war, we continue to recover things like this which have remained. We must be happy because it is a reason for us to be happy about. This goes to show that our public, our security units, the police and everyone are vigilant. So I think it is something to be happy about, not something to fear.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe presided over the UNP representatives meeting this morning at Sirikota.
The future course of the party was discussed at the meeting. Thereafter, the Prime Minister spoke to reporters.
I am surprised that an elite caste system has been formed in the country. They want everyone to talk to them. Whatever your caste may be, we do not have a caste difference. We were given a public mandate to enter into parliament. Now what can we do? You are the ones who went behind Mahinda. Why are you still going behind him? The so-called elite caste says that they are the elite and that they need everything and that the other must not be given it. You can only decide whether he is good or bad by applying the theory of the bad. No one can say that you belong to the elite caste or the low caste. We are not ready to work as an elite caste in this parliament. The elite caste existed in the previous regime. They ruined the country. Now we will have to save the country from that. We are not persons who look at the past and shed tears.
A seminar on Sri Lanka-China relations, challenges and way forward organized by the Bandaranaike Centre for International Studies was held in Colombo today.
So what has happened in Sri Lanka is the exact opposite of what happened in China, even in the worst time, when the state-owned enterprises were giving their surplus to the state so that they could invest in infrastructure. In Sri Lanka, it has always been the other side, where the hard-earned tax money has to be handed over to these state-owned enterprises, and of late we have created the worst of such state-owned enterprises called Sri Lankan Airlines, which is a bottomless pit. It owes $1 billion US. Every flight employs 360 workers. So you can imagine that if you look at one of the worst managed state enterprises in the whole history of the world economy, I think Sri Lankan Airlines will be in the top 10.
The second graduation ceremony of the Sri Lankan Aviation College was held at the BMICH this afternoon.
A distinguished gathering including Minister of Transport Nimal Siripala de Silva, Minister of Public Enterprise Development Kabir Hashim and several others were present at the graduation ceremony. A total of 400 students graduated at today's ceremony.
Our aviation industry, it is posting profits in the past few years of operation, but after 2008, I'm sad to say, for 7 years, we've been doing very, very badly. At the moment, where Sri Lankan has a huge accumulated loss, where the state has been pumping in a huge amount of money, it is about time we decided that we take this responsibility into our own hands, that we all have to be a part of the change. So we need to make this industry a viable venture, a venture that is not a burden on the people of our country. We cannot make the ordinary people of our country pay for bad management, for irresponsibility, for wastage, as it has happened in the past.
And touching on to a story that made it to the headlines this evening, Politburo member of the Frontline Socialist Party, Kumari Gunaratna, was today sentenced to a term of 1 year imprisonment and imposed a fine of 50,000 rupees.
The case pertaining to violations of visa regulations that was filed against Kumari Gunaratna was taken up today before K-Gaol Magistrate Prasanna Alvis. The defendant's lawyer stated that Kumari Gunaratna, presenting oral submissions, admitted in court that he left the country with a different identity as death threats had been levelled against him. He had stated that though requests were made for him to be granted citizenship in the country again, they had been turned down by the government.
We very clearly state that through this case and even through how the government acted in the recent years, it is clear that they are trying to stop all those who are actively working opposing the government. That is the motive behind this process.
The Frontline Socialist Party convened a media briefing today.
There has been a decision from the court and we have accepted that decision. When such a punishment is handed down, the Department of Immigration and Emigration has the ability to request court to deport the individual. We convene this media briefing with solid proof that high-level individuals in the cabinet are holding discussions to deport him from the country.
A conference titled Let's Wipe Out Disappearances was held in Akkarepattu yesterday.
By this May or June, we will table the relevant laws to Parliament required for the establishment of a special commission on truth, which we are currently in discussion with the relevant authorities of South Africa in order to seek the truth on the disappearance of the children of this country and also for the establishment of an office on missing persons with the assistance of the ICRC to ensure non-recurrence of disappearances. We will do everything in our capacity to find every child we can, to reveal the names of the children we could not find and inform you what happened to these children and other missing persons and provide reparation in areas that we could. And above all of this, I very clearly state that I promise you that we will leave no room for a recurrence of disappearances in this country. A Amidst every situation where we could not speak nor move forward under the vicious rule, we focused our attention to changing this rule, and we did. We did not join with the current administration. Even though there were many persons who extended many invitations to join the government, one of the key reasons we declined to join the government to date is the issue of missing persons. Certain issues are being resolved today, but until a solution is given to this important issue, we will not be a shareholder of any government, which is why we interfere in this matter while sitting out of the government. These young women who are present here for the organizing activities for this conference alleged that they were obstructed and inconvenienced on their way here by either the military intelligence or police intelligence units. So I am ashamed to be a part of this government.
Non-academic university staff attached to all universities in the country commenced a token strike today. The Federation of University Teachers Association said that this caused disruption to the flow of activities at all universities.
The Inter-University Trade Union Joint Committee says that they are yet to receive salary increments and other state-provided benefits. Non-academic university staff stepped away from their duties this morning as a mark of protest. University administration officers, security guards, drivers and all university employees, except for the academic staff, are part of the non-academic staff. Hence, activities in all universities came to a halt. The University Teachers Association stated that the government should take action since the requests of the non-academic staff members of all universities are reasonable. Dr. Rangika Halvaturo of the Federation of University Teachers Association stated that the lecturers of the universities were not able to access their own official workrooms. An inquiry was made from the President of the University Grants Commission, Professor Mohan De Silva. He stated that even the non-academic staff members of the University Grants Commission were also involved in the protest. He further stated that the requests made by the non-academic staff members seem reasonable and many requests have been made to the Treasury requesting a solution for this problem.
Many suspicions have arisen since we have not received any opportunity to conduct a discussion for months, and by engaging in a discussion we can arrive at a consensus. It is our duty to protect the national university system. I believe that the government should give prominence to the national universities rather than public universities, as we may lose talented staff members.
Newsfirst's attempts to contact Minister of Higher Education Lakshman Kiriella proved futile.
Still in local news, the Healthcare Leadership Programme commenced today under the patronage of Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratna.
The program was held today at the Bandaranaike International Memorial Conference Hall for all the officers engaged in the health sector. Representatives from Sing Health, which is a medical centre in Singapore, was also present at today's program. The Healthcare Leadership Program will take place today and tomorrow. A memento was presented to Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratna by the representatives from Singapore.
Even though Sri Lanka can be proud as a country, delivering one of the most cost-effective healthcare services in Asia, we have a lot to learn from countries like Singapore to further develop our health system in our effort to match the standards in the developed world. Even I myself have had my personal experience in Singapore. I just came back to Sri Lanka from Singapore after bypass surgery. So I have first-hand experience about the Singapore healthcare system, the attention given to the patient. That's the most important thing. Our entire health services is free. Even a bypass surgery is free in this country. But what we have to improve is the quality and mainly the attention given to the patient. So the success Sri Lanka has achieved so far in its health sector is undoubtedly due to the useful contributions of the past leadership in the sector. However, if we were to keep pace with rapidly growing needs of the nation, it is important to inculcate leadership qualities among a wide spectrum of the health staff at all levels. To ensure continued sustainability of achievements and progress, the leadership and governance process should not depend on individuals, but sustained through system development.
Back, the State Minister of International Trade, Attorney-at-Law Sujeeva Senasinghe, attended the Cabinet media briefing today.
False statements were being made over the ETCA agreements. This will not impact any profession. The President or the Prime Minister does not have any desire to do so. However, the country needs to develop. And if we bring about industries in the country, we can export them to India duty-free. Countries like Japan, China and Korea are asking us when we will sign the agreement with India for them to come here. There are over 50,000 employment opportunities created by this, but there is no one to take those opportunities. We are still having discussions and the draft was presented to those who need to see it. If everyone was given it, we will present it to the Parliament and the respective sections. We need to identify those sections and use their expertise. Nothing can be done by informing the public of everything. When making the decisions, the Prime Minister and ourselves will do so by thinking of the future of the country.
A media briefing to create awareness on the Youth Shelter Program, which will be held in line with the Yaunpura Youth Camp 2016, organised by the Ministry of Housing and Construction, was held today.
At a time when the Yaunpura Youth Camp is ready to provide the youth the real strength and to implement a program for young men and women under the concept of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Housing and Construction is also hoping to commence a youth shelter program. We are ready to commence this program in the Dambulla AGA division of the Mathale district by providing lands to 25 families and provide them the strength to obtain their own lands, and we also hope to start the Rantarunugama Udaga Mania in line with the Yaunpura Youth Camp. We also hope to commence a program to provide housing loans at that same instance. As the second step, we are planning on installing 330 villages for every subdivision. The provisions necessary for financing the construction of a house in Dutubava village in Anuradhapura also took place.
The second phase of the Gum at the program, titled Gum at the Forum, aimed at finding solutions to issues faced by the public, commenced from the Akkarakala area in Vilgamua, Mathale.
The live recording took place at the Maraka Kumukkanda school grounds in Vilgamua. The Gum at the program commenced under the auspices of Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government Faiza Mustafa and many others, including the Divisional Secretary of Vilgamua. Minister Faiza Mustafa toured the area before the live recording of the program commenced. Special attention was drawn towards the road system and the infrastructure facilities in the Vilgamua divisional area. Attention was also drawn towards the bridge that links the Kumukkandana and Akkarikala, and Minister Faiza Mustafa made a promise to build a bridge.
I'm 31 years old now, and no other media organisation had visited the Akkarakala area except for Sivasa. Building a bridge would help in the agriculture of the area and also in the children's education. The President speaks of a balanced development. His vision is to distribute it equally to all areas, and his vision is not only to develop his electorate or his area. Therefore, we are all grateful for this social service initiative launched by the Sivasa Media Network. Through this program, we will be able to identify the issues in the most rural of places, and we will be able to provide solutions to them all.
The live recording of the second phase of the Gum at the program took place this evening.
The Newsfirst Gum at the program marked its presence today in the Vilgamua Kumbukanda area in the Mathale district. Now, residents of this area got the opportunity to present their problems to a delegation of government representatives led by the Ministry of Provincial Councils and Local Government, Faiz Mustafa. Now, the main problem that these people face, problems that they presented to this delegation, were the lack of clean water and the lack of a proper road system. Signing off for the Newsfirst team, I'm Charlene Benedict, reporting from the Mathale district.
In more local news this evening, an MOU between the Government of India and Sri Lanka was signed today to supply 150 units of fishing equipment to the fishermen in Mullathip of Sri Lanka. The signing took place at the Ministry of Fisheries. The MOU was signed between the Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, Mahinda Amarveera, and the High Commissioner of India, YK Singha, representing the two nations. A supply of 150 units of fishing equipment will be given out to 300 beneficiaries, which is costed at 100 million rupees.
State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena called on Indian Minister of Defence Shri Manohar Parrikar recently.
The meeting had taken place in the sidelines of the Defexpo India 2016 in Goa, organised by the Indian Ministry of Defence. State Minister Ruwan Wijewardena had expressed his gratitude on behalf of the Sri Lankan government for the aid provided by the Indian government for the development activities in Sri Lanka. The Ministry of Defence stated that the issues regarding fishing in the northern seas was also discussed during the meeting.
A pregnant woman who went to bathe in the Mahaveli River close to the Thenni Kumura Bridge in Kandy drowned.
Despite such a warning clearly being displayed on this notice board, a pregnant woman and her husband had gone to bathe last evening. I warned them that the river was deep and asked them to bathe from the banks. They asked if it is easy to swim here. The wife said that she can swim. We did not tell them anything else. The woman had drowned instantly, and the husband together with the area residents had commenced an operation in a bid to find the missing woman until last night. However, their efforts were proved futile. This morning, her body was found near rock in the Mahaveli River. The woman was said to be about 1 month pregnant and also the mother of a 1.5-year-old. 23-year-old Vanik Kamvi the Malar resided in close proximity to the Good Shed bus stop in Kandy. The post-mortem examinations that were conducted this afternoon revealed that the woman died of suffocation after drowning in the river. The body of the woman has been handed over to the relatives and further investigations into the incident have commenced.
Well, on that note, we wrap up this edition of Primetime News. Thank you for stopping by. I am Joel Outsko.
I'm Sonali Vanikabadage. Good night.
Good night.